Kia ora, hello and welcome to our March Community Venue Learning series on how to increase engagement on your socials by using video. We're really excited to bring to you some amazing speakers who are going to talk and share lots of expertise on this subject. But before we kick off, I thought I'd just share a few words as to why this is something that I think you're really going to find helpful for community venues. And partly because at SpacetoCo, we've been experimenting using more video in our socials and how we promote what we do. And we found that it's been really, really effective. It's helped more people engage with us. It's made it easier for us to share the story of what we do, but it's also made it much easier for us to share the stories of all of the stuff that goes on at the venues that we work with. So it's just such a great storytelling medium. But I think a lot of people are put off by it because it can feel a bit overwhelming, maybe a bit too technical, or maybe just, you're a bit shy and you don't like to share, too much of yourself on social media. So hopefully today we'll have lots of tips to get over those hurdles and start using video more on socials, on your website, or wherever kind of makes sense for your community venue. But the reason I think video can be so impactful, in particular for people who manage community venues or volunteer at them or even use them a lot, is firstly because it's really, really great for getting engagement and people to actually comment and share your stuff on social media, which can, make more people aware of what you're doing, but can also engage the existing people that are using your venues. It's such a good tool to share the impact of what you're doing. So many community venues have a particular purpose or impact that they're, the reason why they exist. And video is such a good storytelling medium for helping people understand, what you're providing to the community that you serve. It can also help you be discovered by more people. So the more people share videos and engage with them means that you might be able to expand the community of people that you serve. Obviously, one of the things that happens a lot at community venues is programming and events. And so video can be a way to both promote it, but also celebrate those events and show what went on, and then hopefully help more people find and attend those events in the future. And lastly, video, especially if you're taking videos of a yoga group or a dance session that's going on at your center, if people see themselves online and part of what you're doing, it can help them feel a sense of belonging as part of your venue. So lastly, so what's the advantage of that you guys already have with what you're doing? Sorry, I'll just ask if you're not on the camera, but hello and welcome. And lastly, there's a huge advantage that community venues have, which is that you have so much content that already exists. So you have events and you have regular hirers and you have people using your venues all the time, and they'll already be taking videos of what they're doing. So there's already so much that you already have to use and to share that can that you don't even need to sort of take or capture. So just a big hello to everyone that's joined us today, and a big thanks to all of our speakers who are going to be sharing their expertise. We love it if you want to turn your camera on or ask questions or give us a wave at any time. I will put you on mute if you're not speaking. We have a chat, which we'd love you to sort of drop a line and say hello and where you're from, and also use the chat to ask any questions to our speakers along the way. So here's a plan for today. So firstly, I'm going to hand over to Shana for a quick icebreaker, and then we'll go on to our speakers. So we've got Jamie and Esther, who are both from One Day Video, who create some of the most funny, engaging, viral videos in New Zealand and Australia, and recently Germany, I think I saw today. So that's exciting. And they'll be sharing tips on sort of why video is important and how you can also, if you have the budget for it, use paid video marketing to really expand what you're doing and grow your community and what goes on at your space. And then Hayden, who we also work with here at SpacetoCo, who helps create some really brilliant video case studies for us, is going to give a really simple how-to so that you can start using, you know, things like your phone to take videos. And then if we've hopefully we'll have a bit of time for Q&A, but do feel free to drop any questions on the chat and we'll try to get them as we go through. So I will hand over to Shana just to do a quick icebreaker, just so we can get everyone sharing where they're from and what they're looking to do. So Shana.
Hi everyone, my name is Shana. It says Hayden G on my screen because Hayden also happens to be my husband. So he's currently looking after our daughter at the moment. He'll be back to share. But yes, my name is Shana. I work with Elle and Carmela at SpacetoCo, and we'd love to just get to know everybody on the call at the moment. It's looking like in the chat everyone's saying kia ora and all that's hello everybody. So if you'd like to put your name and where you're from, your community venue in the chat, and then also if you could share with us what has been the most effective way you've promoted your venue. So as Elle said, video it can be a bit daunting, but it's actually just a tool that you can use to promote your venue, which is also part of everything else that you do to promote your venue. So it's really cool. It'll be really awesome to hear what other people are doing just in promotion, in that promotion space. We've got here saying hello to Darren, Connie from Kitiaranui, Heather from Willanga Recreation Park, Catherine from Springwood Community Centre. We haven't commenced promoting our venue yet, but do you have any ideas as to what you would want to do for promotion? Yeah, I'll say murals can be a really great way to make your venue more visible. What else is here? Hi, Liz from New Lynn. Let's see. Flyers and leaflets. And if do you all have social media as well? Because I guess video is always really useful for social media. Maybe write down what platforms you're already using. Gemma from Second Story Studios. One of our most successful wins was a big facilitator adding us as a collaborator at IG, and it being seen like by tens of thousands of people. I'm sure Jamie will maybe mention that, or Esther will mention that. Just that whole collaborator feature on Instagram is pretty big. Anna, photos from events with smiling people seem to have most engagement for us on Facebook. I think we find that too in SpacetoCo. If it's pictures of people, if it's pictures of people, it's like a lot of engagement. I think people like to see themselves on the socials. Word of mouth and Facebook page from Heather. Connie ran a competition for free venue hire time, which is pretty successful. It's pretty cool. Competitions are really, really useful. But Bree from City of Vincent are looking at Facebook. That's a lot of cool things. So yeah, you guys can have a look at the chat. It's just popping out here. Most queries come via our website, Facebook photos. Get the best engagement from Darren. Cool. Well, you guys can continue just putting in your ideas over there, but I think I might hand it over. I'm not sure who's starting, but before that, if you want to join the community Facebook, community venue Facebook page. Speaking of Facebook, so this is a place where you can share your ideas, ask questions. It's open to all community venues in the world. We've got a few members already, so if you just visit facebook.com/groups/community venues, we'll be sure to add you in, and we'll have heaps of different ideas in there. So if you want to keep the conversation going. Yeah.
Thank you. I think we're ready to hand over to Jamie. So Jamie, do you have slides to share?
Yes, I do. I'll share my screen.
Perfect.
Let's have a look. Sorry, I'm just figuring it out.
It should be the share button. Yeah, here we go. Nice.
Awesome. Let's go. Present. Cool. So I hope everybody can see my screen right now. Awesome. So I'm Jamie. I work at One Day Video with Esther. I am the digital content creator, so I'm pretty much in charge of creating social media content, blog posts, sometimes emails, that kind of thing. And it's really, really fun. And I really love what I do. And I hope that I can encourage a lot of you guys to get involved as well. Yeah, so basically I want to talk about how you can promote your space or venue with video specifically, and that being organic video as well. So when I talk about organic content, I'm basically referring to anything that's unpaid, so unpaid marketing, that customers can find naturally, and that may be your existing customers or potential customers. It's a really good way to get brand awareness out. And again, you don't have to pay for it, which is awesome. And this can be in the form of like any social media posts or blogs on your website or email newsletters, but we'll focus on social media video today, which is cool. So yeah, organic content is really helpful for spreading the word about who you are and what you do, showing potential customers how awesome you are. And you combine that with video and you suddenly got this really engaging way of spreading your message and increasing your brand awareness. So if you talk about video, in the last 5 years, we've seen like a pretty big uptake in people using video in their marketing, especially in social media. A really great example of where we see this is TikTok. For the most part, it's like a video-only platform, and now it's one of the most successful social media platforms around today. And so it was apparent that video was becoming the way that people were preferring to consume content, especially when you see these videos that have, billions of views and millions of likes. It's pretty insane to think that the platform really only took off a couple years ago. And then again, to kind of emphasize that point, is that Instagram and YouTube released their own sort of video only platforms, which you may have heard of. We've got Reels on Instagram and YouTube Shorts, which are both short form video, vertical video platforms. So it wasn't like video that we've seen popularized in the past, which was that longer form, higher quality videos generally on YouTube or Facebook. And now it's this kind of short, organic, and a lot of the time low res videos. And I think that the rise of that kind of style has come from maybe a fatigue of where people were kind of sick of being fed this really curated content, which for a lot of people seemed like it was either really hard to recreate a video of that caliber, or they just found it hard to relate to. So then when people start posting video that's more naturally authentic, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, you're this really cool creator or brand, and you're not just sharing curated images of your business, you're giving me realistic and relatable and easily digestible pieces of visual information. And video also makes viewers feel like they're there with you, so it can help build a sense of trust and also build more of a personal relationship. So now we're in this era where it's basically sharing video content is a really effective way to communicate with an audience, whether you're a brand or a person or an organization. I'd say that video is the superhero of content, and it has the power to tell an engaging story and connect with audiences on a deeper level than any other form of content, which is really cool. So if we move on, how can you incorporate video into your organic strategy? So I think the key is to create content that is authentic and showcases the unique aspects of your venue. So whether you're showing off, the live events or performances, workshops, or community events, make sure to put your own spin on it and highlight what makes your venue special and, illustrate why people should come to you and not somewhere else. Then a really good way to start can be to ask yourself, what other things that might stop someone, or what is, when I talk about pain points there, I'm kind of thinking, I am looking for a venue, but everywhere I am searching for, I can't get enough information online, or the things that I need communicated aren't being communicated well enough. That might be a pain point. When it comes to barriers and benefits, that's sort of why, what might stop somebody from coming to your venue, and you kind of have to get in the mindset of the customer, and then you can answer that with a benefit. Okay, so my venue is much bigger than the other ones in the area, or it's the only one that has a kitchen, and that kind of thing. So once you can kind of collate all of that information and get yourself into the shoes of the consumer, it makes understanding what content you should be creating a lot easier. I guess it's good to think about as well, if you are someone looking for a venue, what are the key things you'd like to know or have communicated with you when you visit the social media page? Because it is like a secondary source of information aside from a website. And video is a way to make that a whole lot more engaging, which is very cool. So where the fun begins, actually I just missed this little top tip, which is really important. I think something I've learned is to not stress about being perfect. You will get more comfortable over time when you're creating videos and coming up with ideas. Everyone starts somewhere. Nobody else is thinking about it as hard as you are. I think when I first started creating content for One Day Video, I thought that every single video I had to put out had to be like the best thing that anyone had ever seen, and it had to go viral. But honestly, when it comes to social media video, consistency will be favored more than anything else. Like, you need to show up for yourself and your audience. So yeah, I've got a couple little ideas just to get some cogs turning. So things you can look at doing is like interviews with your staff, kind of meet and greet, or we did One Day Video where I went around asking people in the office who their questions like, who is your least favorite person in the office, and we'd like have a little joke about it. You can see that on our socials, but yeah, just trying to get to know the people a little bit more can be really great. And then a tour of the venue. This is kind of a really cool way to show people what you have on offer. And you can turn it into a series. So you can have maybe like a part 1, part 2, part 3 of like different aspects of the venue. And that's kind of a way you can separate it out to get more out of the video that you're taking. Documenting events, obviously with the permission of the people in it and the people running it. I think Al mentioned this before, that, you know, there's already probably a lot of people who have taken their own videos, which you might refer to as like user-generated content, which again, it's like free advertising basically. So just communicating with your people like, hey, would really love to get this out there on our socials. Is that all right with you? And 9 times out of 10, they probably say yes, which is cool. And then vlog style videos. So people really enjoy watching other people speak to them as if you're having a conversation. And you see a lot of this on TikTok and Reels at the moment. And listening to someone's voice can also be a lot more engaging than just reading something on the screen. So a lot of these apps will have, or a lot of social media platforms have voiceover features that you can add in. And I think that's a really good way to, keep people engaged, get people excited about what you've got to show them. And I've just got a little point up here that it's a good idea to brainstorm some ideas in advance, kind of in a content bank. So you have a backlog of like video ideas that you'll be ready to go at any time. Awesome. And just, I wanted to talk about optimization. So when you post on different social media platforms, some of them take different specifications. So whether that's like the ratio, so the size of the video, or the resolution of the video, there's a lot of different things that go into it that you should make sure you're optimizing for when you're creating the video or creating the content. So I've just put a little link in there that you'll be able to click on if you get the slides after this, that has kind of pretty much every platform and every spec that you could possibly need in one place. So it's quite helpful to have a look through that. Then adding captions is so important. Because a lot of people nowadays watch video without the sound on, especially if you're like on the train or in the office or something like that. There's a lot of people that just don't click on the video and listen to the sound. And then there's people, you know, with hearing impairment. So for accessibility, it's really important. Or if someone's speaker on their phone is broken. And you can do this. You can add captions in while you're editing, or you can use auto captioning tools on social platforms. I'd recommend doing it beforehand, because sometimes the auto captioning, you know, it's not always perfect. So you don't want to misconstrue the messages that you're trying to convey. And also create thumbnails so that when people are, you know, looking at your feed, or they've seen a snippet of your video that's been placed somewhere, it's something that what makes them want to watch it. So this is generally an image or just like a engaging still from the video. And some platforms like Facebook will let you choose the thumbnail in the app as you're uploading. and others you'll want to go and create one separately. And these are some platforms that I think are really helpful for this kind of thing. So Canva is amazing. I'm using Canva right now. It's really cool if you want to make a thumbnail, for example, or if you want to make animated text. So say you didn't have live video and you just wanted people to like see a message that you want to get out. Instead of just writing a post about it, you can just animate some text, and that's an easy way to incorporate video in your social media strategy. Or you can put text over the videos you've already got. And then CapCut is kind of like iMovie if you've used it. It's very intuitive and it's free, and it's an editing software to put your videos together. So you can cut it up, you can add sound, you can add text, you can change the color. There's lots of different things you can do. And it integrates with TikTok. So if you are planning on going down that route, it's a really good one for that kind of thing as well. And I'm pretty sure you can do auto captions in CapCut and then edit them. So it also speeds up that process a lot. Awesome. I just wanted to quickly run over the short form platforms. So this is kind of where the attention at the moment of the world is in terms of video, because as I mentioned before, short form, organic, low res video is just what everybody wants to see. Everyone is nosy. Everyone wants to know what you're up to, not necessarily like just see the best of your content all the time. So I think that utilizing these platforms is really important, because unlike traditional Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, your videos get sent out to a much larger range of people who might not follow you, but the algorithm will pick up that these people might be interested in your pages and show them your content, which is crazy if you think about it, but really cool. So TikTok is amazing. The power of TikTok can be so incredible for businesses and organizations alike. Plenty of businesses are already on here. TikTok gives you a lot of creative freedom, and you can be a bit wacky. You'll see businesses like, for example, Wellington City Council on TikTok, and they are carving it up, honestly. People love their content. It's quite memey, like it's kind of funny, and you're allowed to be. It's very experimental, and you can participate in trends. So like leverage the coverage that certain types of videos already get, and viral sounds. Again, it will push your video up in the algorithm if you use sounds that everybody else is using. So sounds being like the track that goes with the video. And then Instagram Reels is Instagram's version of TikTok, I guess. And this is still in the app in Instagram. So any video that you post to Instagram will automatically post as a reel. So it sends your content to a much larger pool of people than if it were just to be put on your feed to your followers. And if you have Facebook and Instagram linked, you can easily share it to your Facebook page as well, which makes it life a bit easier. And then I've got a note about longevity. We've noticed with Instagram that we have posted a video, for example, a reel, and it might not have gotten much traction in the first day, but 3 months down the line, it's still getting consistent views and consistent engagement. Whereas TikTok, we don't really see that. It's more of a period of maybe like 48 hours where you have a kind of spike of engagement and then it plateaus. So that's really interesting. With YouTube Shorts, this is a really good place for informational or instructional content. So community venues can leverage this with becoming thought leaders. An example I've just put there is, how to run an epic birthday party if you're a venue that could host those. Like that's a really niche way of kind of promoting your venue, but in a way that is slightly more engaging. And it's a very similar function and algorithm to Instagram Reels. So it gets pushed out to people who the app determines could be interested in your content. And if you have a YouTube platform or a YouTube channel already, posting on Reels will support that. So help people bring people to your page and stuff like that. Just boost your presence overall. So it can be really overwhelming to figure out where to post. So first of all, you need to consider where your audience is. For example, like if you have a much older audience, people might not be on some of these platforms as much. Whereas I think it's like the main age range for most of these is like 30 to 50-ish, which is interesting. So yeah, you can do some research into your audience and where they are. Take a look at some inspiration and figure out what will suit your brand best. I've just put SpacetoCo's social media pages, a good place for inspiration. They use a lot of different styles of videos, and I think it's really cool. You'll see a lot of demos on their website as well, testimonial videos. Yeah, I think that's a really good place to go if you're needing some inspo. And you can duplicate your content for these 3 short form platforms. So if you create something for Instagram Reels externally from the app itself, so instead of editing it in Instagram, you edit it on a platform like CapCut, like we talked about before, you can then export that and post it to TikTok and YouTube Shorts because they all use the same ratios and specs. So yeah, this is a quick little action plan just to recap what's been said so far, and to kind of help decompartmentalize. So firstly, it's really important to define your messaging. So go through those pain points and barriers and benefits and what makes you different from the rest, and figure out what it really is that you're wanting people to either take action on or know about your space. Then research the platforms and your audience and search for some inspiration. Things like TikTok and Reels are quite good. Specifically TikTok, I'd say you can go in the search bar and look up any keyword. It's almost like Google. You can go community venues and you can see all of the different videos on TikTok that include the keyword or about that topic. And that's a really good way to kind of see what other people are doing. And then brainstorm some content ideas. Like we said before, just having a bit of a bank to look back on is really helpful. Gets things done a bit quicker as well. And then you can go ahead and create your first video. And don't worry about being perfect. Just stay consistent and get creative. Like, if it's really awful the first time, I can guarantee the second one won't be quite as awful. So it's just about getting amongst it, honestly. And yeah, that's all I've really got to say about organic. And I can pass it over to Esther.
Thanks, Amy. So helpful. I love how actionable you made that for people to get started. And I just completely reinforce that message of, don't aim for perfection. Taking a video can be as easy as just taking your phone around the office and getting everyone in your team to wave and say hi. It really can be that simple. And I'd also say that Canva is absolutely fantastic and is, if you're a charitable trust, is free. So all you need to do is apply for a free license, then give some details of your charitable trust, and you can make really great videos on that. It's a really simple tool. So yeah, highly recommend that as well. And yeah, we'll share these slides afterwards as well, so you can take home Jamie's tips. But next, we're going to hand over to Esther, who's going to talk about sort of the other half of video marketing. So Jamie's talked about organic, which is free content, and Esther's going to talk about how you could start to experiment with paid marketing as well.
Thanks, Elle. Kia ora, everyone. I'm Esther. I am the marketing director at One Day Video. So Jamie and I work closely. Our desks are right next to each other, in fact. And we collaborate on a lot of content for One Day Video, but One Day Video also has a digital marketing agency arm. So we have clients like SpacetoCo that we work with to promote their videos and grow their business and brand. So I have learned a lot about paid marketing over the last several years of being in this industry. And I have a lot of hard-won tips because it is a very experimental space. I think something I struggled with when putting this presentation together was the balance of going technical or staying high level. There's a lot of education. If you have never touched ads before, you do want to learn. Like, you do need to spend some time educating yourself. And thankfully, I've put some resources together to help you get started on that journey if you're interested in it. And I did see that at least one venue who is on this call today is already running ads with great success. So that's awesome to hear. What does paid marketing do? I think it builds upon a lot of the organic content that you're already running. First of all, and very simply put, it will get you a higher reach. It will build your brand awareness quickly. And secondly, you can refine the targeting in a really fantastic way to achieve and find your target market really easily. So every single ad platform, whether it's on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, have demographic targeting. So you can show your content to people of a particular age in a particular location with particular interests that have been documented online. Or on LinkedIn, for example, they have fantastic targeting options for job titles or company names or levels of experience. So it's quite a fun journey to see just how like niche you can get your targeting. And that does require experimentation. I think for video specifically, paid marketing will allow you to encourage a very specific action. All of your ads can be assigned particular buttons, which would either encourage people to visit your website, your space, to explore or to inquire, or even to download a free resource that you have, which is also another fantastic way to get people through the doors. I think one thing I say to every single person I work with is that paid works really, really well if you have a strong organic content strategy in place, because people will see your ads come through the door. They might not be ready to take action. They might not be ready to book your venue, but if you can get them following you on social and continually engaging them, then they will come with you and become sort of brand followers who will eventually use your service. So that's really, really important. What Jamie's talked about goes hand in hand with what I'm talking about. And I'll go to the next slide. Thanks, Jamie. I wanted to talk about some case studies because I think none of this stuff really makes sense if you don't see how it actually works in real life. And again, there's a bit of data here which you can go and look into when we send these slides afterwards. One of my favorite examples is M3 Mindfulness. These guys are the only Indigenous wellbeing program available to schools in New Zealand. Jace Tapatu is their founder. He's quite well known in the New Zealand space, but they were struggling with schools just not knowing that the M3 Mindfulness program existed. So they came to us wanting to kind of grow the awareness of their brand and then hopefully get schools inquiring. He said some very nice stuff about us, which you can read in your own time. But the results were so good. So across 3 months, we were marketing through paid advertising for Jace, and he received 140 inquiries from schools, which was a 400% increase on their previous 5 months of marketing. Their video that we created for them had 280,000 views, which is just phenomenal if you're thinking about it from a brand awareness perspective. So how did we achieve these results? We filmed a super engaging video for M3, which had Jace, the founder, front and center. It was actually not a very funny video at all. It was quite serious. So it just goes to show that if you have engaging content, it doesn't need to be funny necessarily to get the views. I think what made this video really, really good is that he was extremely honest about the struggles that kids face in schools and the kind of skills that they need to thrive in this world. And what we did then is once we had created the video, we created their website homepage. We revitalized it so that anyone coming through the door then had a really good experience once they arrived to the website itself, which focused on providing testimonials and social proof and encouraging people to inquire. And what we did is we marketed it via Facebook. So we just did Facebook and Instagram ads, primarily targeting teachers and principals. So it was a very niche audience. We only wanted to reach the education sphere. We kind of had the goal of wanting most schools in New Zealand to know about M3 and then for some principals or teachers to take action and inquire. We then also did something called retargeting, which is where you communicate or you can target ads to an audience who has already engaged with your website or your ads. So the advantage with video is you can create a retargeting audience of video views. So anyone who has watched your video 3 to 15 seconds, you can capture that into an automated audience, which just keeps building and building on Facebook. And then you can retarget different messages to those people. So what we did is we created that audience and targeted them with new ads that sort of talked about the features and benefits of the program, the credibility of the trainers who were involved, the number of schools already using the program. And all of this generated, a huge amount of brand awareness, which resulted in those stats. Now, I also have a sort of closer to home example, which we used with SpacetoCo. So that's just on the next slide. All right, so something closer to home. SpacetoCo, the venue, we wanted to trial a type of ad promoting a venue that needed more bookings. So it was a rehearsal/dance space in St. Heliers, and we decided to keep our targeting quite broad with this. We didn't do any parameters around age. All that we did is we sort of narrowed down the location to about an 8-kilometer radius around St. Heliers. So anyone kind of living near or around that space who might want to use the venue. And then we targeted interests, anyone interested in dance, drama teaching, people who were into performing arts in general, or community spaces. We let Facebook do its good algorithmic work, and we only spent $300 on this ad. And I know for some people that might sound like a lot, but what the result we ended up getting was a very, very high value client, an ongoing client who ended up booking the space, which more than covered the cost of the ad itself. And in total, this also received 138 visits to the venue listing on SpacetoCo. So yes, we had that one booking, but now also 138 people clicked through, viewed the venue, had that in their mind for future decisions. So this was a really successful ad, and it was just an experiment, really. You guys could do something similar. So I've included the ad itself there to give you some ideas of the type of copy or imagery that you can run to promote your venue. And now the big, all-important question of how do you figure out how much to spend on your ads? I think I'm not going to tell you a total amount. It really, really depends on what you want to achieve. So I've kind of put a bit of a checklist here. The first step is you must decide what is your strategy. If you want to grow brand awareness of your venue in and around your location, that's a really, really good goal. But if you want to get inquiries and people booking your space, you need to be willing to also build the brand awareness and then spend money on your retargeting ads. So depending on your goal, that will indicate how much you need to spend. So the higher value action you want people to take, the more money you need to be willing to invest in this type of marketing. Once you have a budget, one mistake that a lot of people make is they will run their ads for 1 or 2 weeks and then they'll stop it because it's not working. What you need to do is see it out for at least 3 months minimum. This is a general good best practice marketing move. There's a lot of activity behind the scenes that you don't see as somebody kind of watching the results come through. You must remember that video views and traffic to your website are incredibly valuable actions that will lead to people inquiring down the track. I've got some more resources on that later as well. A really, really good rule in terms of how you want to split your ad spend is 80% of your budget should go towards brand awareness marketing. And what I mean by that is you're targeting people who have never heard about you before. So the targeting I just showed for the St. Heliers venue is a brand awareness type of ad. And then 20% should go towards retargeting. So focusing on all the people who have engaged with you already and running more ads, kind of just talking to them about the features and benefits. One thing you really want to be doing is if you're seeing really good results, scale up your budget. You know, like there isn't necessarily a limit to the results you can achieve until you find it. So if it's really working for you, invest more budget into it and track the results. Track everything, because you need to know how many inquiries you were receiving before you started paid marketing and how many you were receiving, like say 3 months down the track. Something we also do is every single person who comes through the door about inquiring about video, we ask them, you know, how did you hear about us? Where did you first see One Day Video pop up? And more often than not, it's through ads. And that data is really, really important for you to know, because it will give you the confidence to keep doing this and putting spend towards it. And then just on the next slide, I've just kind of got a few points around kind of research and education. I'm not going to go through this now, but there's some really good information from Facebook marketing as sort of around how to set up campaigns, how to create audiences, how to understand campaign objectives. And then we also have a handbook on how to create a video marketing strategy. And then right at the bottom, I've got an article around how do you measure success. So I really would encourage you, if this is a journey you want to go down, start educating yourself and start learning. It's a big scary place, but like the more you learn, the more confident you'll become. And so many companies have grown because of paid advertising. So that's me. Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much, Esther. Some really fantastic resources there. And I think one thing we've learned is even if you don't have masses of budget, you can actually be quite impactful. So that's Helia's example is something where we put a little bit of budget behind it, but they got a year-long booking in a space from that, which obviously was hugely impactful to that center. So if spending $100 is going to equate in returns of 10 20 times that in terms of booking value, then it's money well spent. So yeah, really encourage you to work out what kind of, I suppose, return on investment you're looking for from your ad spend, so you can determine what you're willing to put forward and experiment with, and you can start small and build it. And another tip that I think is helpful is that kind of combines what Jamie and Esther have said is, if you have a post that's receiving really high engagement, the first thing you can do is boost it, because that will mean that it will get shared with people wider than your existing followers, and you already know that it's an engaging post because you've had lots of likes or comments on it. So that's a really nice way to get started with paid advertising and getting your the name of your venue out to a wider group of people. I'm going to move straight on to Hayden, because we've got 19 minutes left, and I know that Hayden's got lots of tips, but we'll hopefully have a little bit of time for questions at the end. So if you do have questions for Esther and Jamie, drop them in the chat, and we'll come back to everyone. So I shall hand over to Hayden. Hello.
G'day. So I'm just going to try and put the presentation in. Love, how do I drag it in?
Looks like you're getting some help there from Lily.
Yeah. Nice. Sorry, guys.
No worries.
Almost there.
So Hayden is going to talk us through a few tips on actually how to take video, which will give you a bit more confidence when you're starting to create or experiment with creating a little bit of content in your venue, and some tips that you can really apply to some of the ideas that Jamie gave you about what type of video content you could start to use to promote your venue.
Yeah. It's just processing, but I think I might start anyway, just given the time. I'm just going to give some super practical tips on filming itself. And that, let me see.
I'll share it when it pops up, Hayden.
Okay, great, cool. So basically, my name's Hayden, and I studied filmmaking at uni. I've probably been doing it for about 11, 12 years at this stage. And so I'm just coming from a purely practical perspective and hopefully giving you some general principles and some really practical tips on how to make videos. Thanks so much, Esther and Jamie, for that. I've learned heaps as well with the social media stuff. But let's just tuck straight into 10 top tips for no/low budget filming. So this is kind of under the presumption that all we have are phones. So you can spend up to an entire university degree on one film camera, but I'm just gonna come from the perspective of only using something like this, my cracked screen cell phone. So I would say that film is basically just kind of 3 elements. That is audio, visual, storytelling. So you only have 3 things to focus on, which is awesome. So I would say that if you're watching, I don't know, a movie or something and the audio is really, really bad, it's just so easy to kind of take you out of it. And same with the video quality and the story. Like, if there's nothing there to kind of engage people with, it's very easy for them to check out. So I'd want to just point out that my first point. Ah, excellent. Thanks, Al. Nice. Great. That story is king. So the story is, I would say, the most important thing with filmmaking. That film, is if there was a medium for film, it would be story. And so I guess the question that I would pose to everybody is, what story do you have to tell? What is your, I guess, what Jamie was saying with authenticity? Everybody has like something to share, something to say that is unique. And so it's trying to find what your venue's story is. An example I would bring up is the Mount Hutt Three Peaks Pass. I guess, I don't know, marketing sort of. I had a whole series of videos, and it was basically promoting the Three Peaks and getting an annual pass to all three peaks. And what was really awesome about it, it wasn't just showing the mountains and how cool like the ski fields were. It was basically a tour by the actual like managers of each ski field, who are just kind of like blokey blokes, just kind of they had no script. It was just like so real, and it was just hilarious. And I think that was a really awesome example of like every space has like a people and a place that's unique. And I guess if you're making video and kind of showing your unique, I guess the thing that sets you apart from other spaces, or I don't know, maybe an idea is trying to tell the story of the space, and part of that is sharing who the people are within that space. So then my second point, my second top tip, is to think and ask yourself, who is it for? Given that everybody's got a story and something to share, the next thing is trying to think of who are you trying to share that with? And that goes back to what Jamie was saying earlier about, the audience, and knowing kind of who you're wanting to share and communicate your story with, I think will help you determine how you film and where you put it. Yeah, I think I might leave it there for that one, actually. Yep, let's just keep going. Yeah, this is a super practical one. If we're shooting on a cell phone, that's all you've got, clean your lens, please. I think our cameras on our phones are really, really great, and there's so often we can overlook like the cleanliness of it. And so like if you actually just kind of, you're going to get a really great image. Practically speaking, instead of it being smudged, I know from time to time mine's got a thumbprint on it. So yeah, that's my first tip. Practically speaking, it's just clean your lens. The next one would be, consider lighting. So if you've got your light source, like this photo is, behind the subject, they're going to be silhouetted, and they're not going to be, it's not going to look as nice as you could have it. So in this instance of this photo, if we went to the other side of it and took a photo, the woman playing the piano will be really beautifully lit and very, very like, I don't know. This is an example. Instead of just like, like this. I'm in front of a window. It's really nice. It's really beautiful. And I mean, the computer's pretty good, but it's just like a really bright background. You probably get the point. All right, let's carry on. So this is a basic rule of composition. For whatever reason, like splitting things into thirds and kind of composing your shot based on like kind of, instead of it being necessarily like centered's good, but if you just kind of put it to the side a little bit, there's just something really like aesthetically pleasing about it. So when you're framing up a shot, I guess I would just kind of encourage you to think about, like, just imagine like your screen split into thirds, vertically and horizontally, and then just trying to kind of say, with this photo here, something I filmed on the weekend, like say having the eyes at like a kind of like in the top third, or kind of having the person sitting off to the side a little bit. It's just really, it's just quite pleasing to look at. And then the next one is also to do with composition as well, with your camera angle. So I would just kind of summarize it in being like not too low, not too high. So you don't want it to be like, to be filming somebody in an interview and it's kind of like this, like, hello there, and you don't want it to be, awkwardly high either. So I would, like, when I'm filming stuff, I have it at just above eye level, kind of like looking down a little bit at the subject. So if you're wanting to do, say, testimonials, of people who have used your space or people who work at the space, I think those two kind of basic guides of composition will be like really helpful in creating something that's dynamic and really well presented. Yes, let's go to the next one. So this one is no versus low budget filming. So I was thinking about camera movement with this one. And if you have no budget and all you've got is a cell phone, I would just say, just keep your movements slow and steady. Don't kind of be like, yep, so this is my space. But kind of have it, and then fingers away from the microphone, you don't want to cover up the mic. And then kind of just like keeping yourself like steady, just kind of like, say, if you're wanting to shoot a pan across the space, just keep it slow and steady, I think is probably my general guiding principle with that one. And then if you have a low budget, so let's say you've got some money to splash out on, I don't know, but I would say buy a cheap tripod and even just like a phone adapter for your tripod. And that way you can have, like, say, talking heads and you don't have to hold the camera for the whole time, or you'll have a panning shot of your space and you can you just have a bit more control. So if you've got a bit of money to splash out, you can get them for quite cheap. Nice. Basic audio principles. So when you're recording, given that it's primarily made of just visual and audio, this is the other side of that. So have your microphone like as close as possible to the subject without it being weird. Like, just be reasonable in that. Because the microphone is obviously picking up the person speaking, but you don't want to pick up anything else. So by having it as close as possible to your subject, you're going to ensure like good quality audio and clear audio. Also, don't cover the microphone up. And also just be mindful of the wind as well, because it can so very easily distort the audio if you're filming outside. And then the next one has to do with audio as well. And this is kind of, if you don't have a budget versus if you have a low budget. If you don't have a budget, you're kind of stuck with the microphone that's kind of inbuilt to whatever you're using, whether that be a DSLR that's floating around the office or the cell phone. And so in that instance, I would say, have the microphone, in this case, it's on the thing you're filming, as close as possible to the subject. But then if you have a low budget, you could buy a microphone that can plug directly into your phone. So in this photo here, there's this thing called Rode Wireless Go. That is an example of, they are a little bit more expensive, to be honest, but there are some quite cheap lapel options out there that I've seen. And so basically the subject would then say, have a little microphone, little lapel mic on them, and then it will via Bluetooth connect to a receiver, which is then plugged into your phone. And so that's just going to ensure really clear audio because the microphone is right up next to the individual. Yes. And then number 10, YouTube is your friend. I feel like I might have learned, it feels like at times that I've learned more from YouTube than film school. Whenever I've needed to learn something specific about, say, editing or a program, or even just kind of more thorough, in-depth sort of conversations on these kind of guiding principles, giving a quick search on YouTube is super helpful. There's more than enough YouTube tutorials out there for practically anything you'll need help with. Like I said, I've learned so much, in particular to editing. And so I've got a little bonus tip here as well for editing. this is getting probably more into the, as opposed to the kind of, I guess it's a bit more, not complex in the sense of like, it'd be difficult, but it's more like we're on a computer and we're going to put together a whole bunch of stuff that we filmed. I would say like for free stuff, iMovie with Macs and Apple is pretty good. Also, the Windows has moved from, I think it was Windows Video Editor. They've moved to Clipchamp. And so that's the kind of like native editing video software to Windows computers. And then if you're wanting to, you know, kind of do a bit of a deep dive and get pretty proficient at it, DaVinci Resolve is quite an advanced program, but it is for free. I don't know if you can see in this photo in the background with all those kind of like colored squares when I'm editing video, that's kind of what it looks like. And so that's probably getting a bit complicated, but at the end of the day, it's a basically professional editing software for free. But yeah, like the one that Jamie mentioned as well, I'm sure it's awesome. And it does the captions as well. So that's pretty great. But yeah, that's just kind of the things that came to mind when I was trying to think about the kind of bare bones principles of like, if we're going to do some filming with a cell phone and that's all we had, that's what came to mind. And I think I'll just kind of echo what's been said before, and that just start. I think the more you do, the more familiar you're going to get with it, and you're going to have more nuanced ideas about how to film and what to film. Yeah, and just because just don't take it too seriously, really. Just create as much as you can, as frequently as you can. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hayden. There were so many brilliant tips in there that hopefully are just really that will, without really much knowledge at all, will just make sure that your videos are getting off to a really good start. But yeah, totally agree with the just get started. Have fun with it, and hopefully that will help you sort of learn what people respond to and connect with people as well. The other tip I'd say is, particularly with audio, even just doing videos of your venue without audio can be a really great way to sort of showcase them. Or you can use things like Canva to record audio afterwards as well, if you're worried about wind or movement or those type of things. The other thing I'd suggest is, I thought Hayden gave a really lovely tip around storytelling. And my prompt to you would be, every day there's so many stories and experiences going on at your venues, be it, someone new coming in or a new event that's coming up. And a good prompt as to what might be a good story to share on social media is, what is the first thing you tell your family or your friends about what happened at work today or what happened in your venue today? Because that's the thing that's top of mind. That's the story that sort of hit you and impacted you today about your venue. So that prompt of like, what about my day would I tell my family when I get home when they say what happened? That's the type of content that you might want to just quickly like share that story. Just literally film yourself on your camera and share that as part of your venue, because that type of thing will be super engaging and really real for people who want to learn a bit more about what's going on. Thank you so much to our speakers for putting together those really great presentations. We will share them with everyone on the call, and a quick hello and shout out to everyone that's watching this afterwards. We often get a lot of people watching these from our website or from the other people that registered. So hello, and I hope you found it useful. And our next Community Venue Learning series will be on Thursday, the 20th of April, and it will be on community programming. So stand by for new speakers that we'll be announcing soon for that. This, again, is a really hot topic. It's something that a lot of venues care about how to design and promote programs going on at your venue. Thank you so much to everyone, and we will see you at the next one.